My name is Hugo Herrera. I am Head of Analytics at the East Suffolk North Essex NHS Foundation Trust, and I'm leading on the analytical team responsible both for supporting tactical decisions from our operational team as well as strategic decisions from our clinical team. It was about November, I think, that we started to work with NHS England demand and capacity team on developing a system dynamics model for our colorectal cancer pathway. It's one of the most challenging areas that we have at the moment. So we are concerned about the waiting lists, obviously, but also concerned about what is happening downstream as we were just coming out of COVID, big waves and lockdowns, and some people probably hasn't been able to reach to the GP as they used to. So yeah, we were concerned not only that we already know that we have a kind of a large stock, but also that we see, or we were seeing the number of referrals increasing. And you know, that was putting even more pressure into our system. So we wanted to use system dynamics to understand what was the right balance between demand and capacity, what was the right way to deal with this backlog that we were experiencing. We have a couple of stakeholder engagement sessions with some of the leads in of our operational team, basically to frame the problem, to understand what was the challenge, what scenarios were they worried about, what kind of questions they wanted to answer with the model, and then the analysts, you know, learn how to do system dynamics by doing this project. And so one of them, Joshua Dixon, he was the one leading because he's the senior divisional analyst for gastroenterology and general surgery, so very much related to colorectal cancer. But he has the support of the other members of the team, and he was totally new to system dynamics, and he managed to, you know, to build a small but good model for the division and for the pathway, and that was yeah, I think that beside the outcomes that we got at the end of the project, the fact that other people in the team actually got the skills and now they can use system dynamics is definitely a big benefit of this project. So to some extent, you can model relatively complex problems in a relatively simple way. So that allows the model to be transparent. It's very graphical because, you know, the diagrammic convention that they use. So it's easy for stakeholders to understand what are we doing and how the model works. So definitely that's a big advantage. Also, sometimes it's easier to do it because we are using a dedicated software like Stella. So sometimes it's easier to build the model and quicker to build the model in Stella than do it in Excel, where you have to type all the formulas and repeat all the formulas and, you know, rows and rows and rows. Well, you can summarize that pretty much in couple variables within your system dynamics model. Well, because we are using this software as well, I think the fact that we can easily build these interactive learning environments or these flight simulators that people can, you know, quickly interact or easily interact with. You know, they have sliders and they have like dials and switches and you know, people can see, or the stakeholders can see the effect of changing some variables almost immediately. And I think that really helps with the communication and also with the validation of the model, because it makes it easy to explain to stakeholders, well, this is what the model does, And if they are unsure about, oh, but why did you make this assumption? What about X? What about Y? It's very easy to change it there in the model and show, well, that will be the impact of changing that assumption. And you see, well, some of the assumptions are probably not as significant or as relevant in terms of the outcomes that we're looking at. So we don't need to be so precise, or we don't need to be so worried about the uncertainty around these values. So yeah, I think those probably are the three main benefits that I see on using this approach. We had two acute trusts within our ICS, and the intention has always been to be able to share with the other trust, there is West Suffolk. Now the ICS, as probably everyone knows, now is going through this transformation and is developing a whole new set of strategies and tools, and is working with them to develop an intelligence function and so on. So we actually are working or doing some work for the ICS to look at a demand capacity model of a whole acute system. That obviously is a massive piece of work, and we will need additional support. But the fact that Josh and the other analysts already being exposed to system dynamics, it really makes it easier, because they also can participate and they can, help us to build the models that we will need for this piece of work. First, always try to have always start with a small model that you can run right away, and and that you fully understand. So I think pitfall sometimes when you're starting building system dynamics models is that you start to drop into the model all the things that are in your head, and you start to build this huge model without data, and then you start collecting the data, and then you get stuck because you don't understand what the model is doing anymore. So my suggestion would be start small, couple of variables, couple of stocks. You have to find the data for those, be sure that it works and it works well, and then add a couple more, so that you always have you always understand what the model is doing and why is it doing it. And I think the other one is to always start with the stakeholder engagement, or keep stakeholders in the loop. System dynamics has the advantage of being very transparent, and it is brilliant to communicate to stakeholders, but it also comes with the disadvantage that it's probably not what people is used to see, and showing to them as soon as possible what you're doing, and sharing with them the progress is very important, so that they start to adjust their expectations on, okay, this is very different from just a spreadsheet, has way more potential, but also comes maybe with some limitations. So the best they know, or the best they understand what actually you are doing, the better, I think.